What is happening, everybody? Happy Saturday to you all. Welcome to an extra cozy episode of the podcast. And I say extra cozy because I got one of the most coziest chill streamers y'all can find on Twitch. Y'all show your love and vibe out with my guest today, Miss TwinklyTor.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. We've known each other for a few years now, so
Yep,
I'm really
yep.
excited we can finally collaborate. But yeah, my name is Victoria. I go by TwinklyTor on Twitch. I do a lot of Nintendo. The Legend of Zelda is my favorite of all time. We did Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, true 100%. Lately, dabbling in some more games out of my comfort zone, like doing Elden Ring, my first Souls game. But yeah, I just try to pride myself on being a fun, inclusive, cozy community, focused space where people can just come chill, wind down after a long day. We have a lot of fun.
If you guys feel relaxed and everything, that's what that's what Tor. That's like the whole basis of Tor's community, her streams and everything. Like right now I feel like I'm about to go to sleep right now. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm joking.
I love that so much. We just both pass out. So
hmm
good.
Does she have the voice of coziness? Does she have that?
I get that a lot, honestly. I get that a lot. We definitely keep it pretty chill. I'm very soft spoken. I people joke that if I rage at a game, it's in like lowercase. I'm just like ah. So yeah, we definitely have things pretty chill and it's good.
So Tor, first of all, how'd you what got you into streaming? You know, and in particular, the Legend of I know you said Zelda is your favorite
Yeah.
franchise. Let me rephrase. How did you get your name Twinkly Tor anyway? Well, I guess the Tor part because your name is Victoria, so the Tor I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
So the Twinkly
Um
part,
the twinkly part. Yeah, funny enough, when people ask me, I never really had a name that it wasn't like a light bulb thing, like a name I always knew I wanted. I remember when I started streaming, I actually had like just my first and last name. I didn't realize like gamer tags or like unique Twitch handles was really a thing until I entered the space. And then I realized I probably shouldn't just have my full
right?
government name. I mean, some
Right.
people do, but I was like, I want to come up with something like that stands out, something fun and creative. Um, my nickname usually, most people in real life call me Vic. And I really always like the nicknames Tor and Tori, but I never use those in real life. So I said, why don't I come up with something like Tor or Tori, and it will give me the opportunity to use those nicknames for the first time. Again, being short for Victoria.
Right.
Twinkly, I don't know. Honestly, I just had a list. I was like, if I had something with a T, it would roll off the tongue nicely. And I just went through a list of random words. I was like, Twinkly's kind of cute. And then when I started off, my branding was a lot of like stars and space themed, and it just kind of worked out. And it just stuck ever since. So
Ah. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So I guess the twink just randomly came together and it worked. I see.
It
Well,
worked. It worked. Yeah, I don't even really know how I came about it. I just thought of random words that started with a T, and I was like, Twinkly's kind of fun. But yeah, it was never something that I used prior. It was never a gamer tag I had or anything. Something I decided on, and it just ended up working. And yeah, I don't know if I could ever see myself changing it. I feel like it's just me now.
yeah, I could never see you changing that name ever. I mean, that's what everybody pretty much knows you as, but that's what I know you
Yeah.
as well. And the twinkly
Yeah.
is fitting because you know you're like your presence is
Eee.
you're like a bright. You see, isn't
Yeah.
she like is it like when she smiles and laughs and everything? Don't you see?
Yeah.
Like, don't you? Could you just imagine the brightest star in the galaxy, just shining?
Oh, that's so
And I
nice.
mean that for real.
Oh, I really
So
appreciate that. Thank you.
the name works. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I like Twinkly. I feel like it's like it doesn't get used too often, but I feel like yeah, it can also, like be a descriptor of someone's personality, I suppose. So
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like it.
Oh,
And I
totally.
feel like your handle just becomes a part of you. Like Iceman Prime, I can't imagine you ever being something different as well. It's just like a part of you and your journey. Like the
Exactly.
Iceman Prime and Ice Cave. It's so cool.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You actually are. You say you're from Canada, correct? Born and raised. Gotcha.
Correct. Yeah, born and raised in on here in Ontario.
Gotcha. You actually
Yeah.
you actually have the distinct honor of being the second guest I've had on the show from Canada. Uh,
Okay.
I actually had someone on my podcast a couple months ago, Lulu Riri, who now goes by Lulu Harderly. Um,
Okay.
she's a JR just chatting JRPG streamer, and
Oh,
is the polar opposite of you in that she's very animated and loud, but she's
that's
great.
great.
She is
That's
great.
amazing.
Yeah.
I'll have to check her out. I'm proud to be the second Canadian on the podcast.
Oh yeah. How'd you get your start on streaming, and what got you into the Zelda series? So this is kind of like a two-in-one question.
Yeah, I would say, I guess to start, I grew up on Nintendo. The GameCube was my first console, and I feel like a lot of people have this story for why they found their way to Twitch. But as many people who are on the platform, I feel like growing up, I didn't really have a lot of friends. I was very shy. I felt like I couldn't really find my place and didn't fit in too well. So I think
Mm-hmm.
back very fondly on like just being on my GameCube and playing like Harvest Moon, A Wonderful Life, or Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, and then you just got transported to these worlds. I'm sure so many people who grew up with gaming relate to that. It just felt like a sense of purpose and belonging. And then as I grew up, I got really interested in the online gaming space and watching Let's Plays. And, I thought it would be something fun to dabble into. I didn't actually grow up with Zelda. I got introduced to it in my late teens, like I want to say 17 or 18, over a decade ago now. And I just fell in love with it, like the lore, the gameplay, all of it. Ocarina of Time was my first one, and I
Ah,
just became
Ocarina of
obsessed.
Time. Oh
Yeah,
man, that's like
such a good one.
a lot of people's top Zelda game of all time. Legend of Zelda game of all time,
Yeah, it's
mine
such a good
included.
one. And then you as well. Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's fantastic. And then from there, I just went on and played most of the rest of the 3D ones. And I think that was kind of the push for me to want to blend my love for like the online gaming space, and then Zelda was just became so important to me, and I was like, you know what, I think I'm going to give content creation a go. I think it will help get me out of my comfort zone, and it will be like a fun little escape. It was around COVID as well when I started
Mm.
streaming. I think we started around the same
Yeah,
time, if I'm not
around the
mistaken.
same
Yeah,
time, right?
it was just a good little escape and a sense of connection. And then I started streaming with Ocarina of Time, and I've never looked back since.
And you've come a
Yeah,
long way since then. I mean,
you as well. It's hard. I wish I'm sure you understand, and so many people. I wish I
mm,
had more time for it. It's kind of hard when you've got so much,
so much,
work
and
and life. But
mm, especially
it's
as someone who has a full time job on top
yeah.
of streaming, I definitely understand 100%.
But I'm glad that we both stuck with it, and
Yeah.
we do what we can. We show up when we can,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, here we are.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I know you're currently playing the newest one that just came out. I think it's called
Mhm.
Echoes of Wisdom. I believe is what it's called.
Yeah. Echoes of Wisdom. Yeah.
And this this game's a little different. That you actually are playing as the Princess Zelda,
Yeah.
which is for the first time ever in franchise history. And
Yeah.
I know a lot of fans, especially the female fans, were really
Hmm.
excited about that. So, but
Definitely.
what did you think about that? Being able to finally play
Yeah.
as the Princess Zelda for the first time, and you're actually a rescuing Link. Well, the roles are reversed
Yeah.
now. So, what do you think about that?
Hmm. Oh, it's just so cool. I mean, like you said, I think it's like so many. I think like women as well who love Zelda are probably really stoked for it. It's just so cool. It's, the Legend of Zelda, right? Like you think it's time she finally got her time to shine, but
Right?
um,
I
no,
mean,
it's great because
it's her namesake,
it's like
the Legend of
right,
Zelda.
exactly.
So
Legend of Zelda, right? And I feel like she always has such a. Honestly, I have her right here. Not Echoes of Wisdom, but we got Tears of the Kingdom Zelda, so we can let
yes.
her have her moment. But Yeah, I feel like she's been a vital part of like the lore and all of the characters. So it's really fun. I really unexpected. I don't think anyone was expecting Nintendo to just drop that on us. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. It's really fun playing with the roles reversed. Yeah, it works really well, I think.
Yeah, I do want to check that game out one of these days myself.
Mhm.
Is this, and I'm sure you could probably relate. My backlog just continues to get bigger and
Oh, Iceman, don't even get me started on my
uh,
backlog. It is so, it
yo,
just never ends. It never ends.
let me tell you, let me tell you, I have about 60 games on Steam. I want to say 70 or so games on PS5, 20 or so games on my Switch.
Oh my
And
gosh,
out of all
yeah.
those games, I've only beaten maybe three.
Yeah.
And I keep and I
Oh,
keep and I keep buying new games too. So and I told
that's
myself
amazing.
I'm not gonna buy too many games this year, but I gotta be honest with you, this year, like there was so many good games that I just couldn't resist. Like
Hmm.
I just played I just played the newest Mario Party that came out this week. I was streaming that yesterday, and
Ooh,
man, might be the best Mario Party I've played. And this is coming from someone
nice.
who's played since the N64 games.
Right.
So
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I did see you were playing that. I've heard Jamboree, right? That's what it's called.
Jamboree,
I've heard it's
yes,
amazing.
it
Apparently, it's so
is.
fun. I get what you mean, though. The backlog just never ends. It's
Mm-hmm.
I somehow I just like I get through games so slowly, and then your list of games you own just gets bigger and
Bigger
bigger.
and bigger. Mm-hmm. And you're
Yeah,
like,
and
yeah, I'm
then
gonna get back to this game. I'm gonna get back to it, but you never get back to it.
yeah.
That's me right there.
For sure. And I have so many games. It's like you as well. I'm sure you have so many games you're so stoked to get to, but you want to give your a full undivided attention to what you're currently
Mm-hmm.
playing. So it's just like
Especially when
you don't want to rush through it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. Especially when those games are like, especially when the games are like series where you have to play the games before you. Yeah. So that's where I'm
Hmm.
at with
Yeah.
a lot of my backlog. So.
If I'm not mistaken, like a lot of JRPGs as well, right? And I know
Mm-hmm.
those ones are, pretty content
Pretty
packed and
content
quite
packed. A
lengthy.
lot of
Yeah.
reading. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And my mom, Kimmy, probably knows me, knows it because she does a lot of JRPGs and she does art streams as well. And she always like, how do you balance these? How do you balance these games? I don't know.
Yeah.
We're gonna go a bit off topic a bit.
Yeah.
Talk about fall. Finally, we're here in Texas. The fall is starting to feel a lot like fall. I got my little hoodie on. By
Nice.
the way, shout out to Capcom for the hoodie.
Shout out.
I imagine being in Canada, it must get like really really cold in the fall. Like, does it get that
Mhm.
cold in the fall? I can imagine winter is
Yeah.
brutally cold.
It gets really, really cold. I feel like in recent years, no, we don't really get as much snow as we did when I was growing up. And I guess that's just all over the world, kind of, and that's on global warming, I guess. But that's a whole other discussion.
That's a
But yeah, that's a whole other. But it gets really cold. We've already dipped below freezing. It's getting to that
already
time of
below
year. You get
freezing. Wow.
yeah, not too often. It's in that weird transition point. Some days are quite warm. I think what would be equivalent in Fahrenheit to like 50, 60s. Like it's comfy sweater weather, but some nights it's like you know, your car is like fully fogged up
Fogged
and
up.
it's like dipping below freezing. So, yeah, winter will get pretty bad. January and February get really, really bad. I think it can like dip down to like almost negative 30 Celsius, and I'm pretty sure in Fahrenheit when it's that cold, I think it's pretty similar, like around negative 20, negative 30 Fahrenheit, because it gets to that point, it's just, it balances.
You said negative
But yeah.
negative 20 Celsius.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, we get that. It's
that's
cold.
whoo. That's
Negative.
because 0 degrees Celsius is 32 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh,
So
okay, yeah, I'm
negative
trying to
20 would be
Google.
about. I want to say that's like single digits. Might even be negative. I could be
Yeah.
wrong about
If
that though.
I feel like we usually get not for very long. We usually get like a week or two in February where it will get to like get quite close to negative 30 Celsius. And when I Google the conversion, it says negative 22 Fahrenheit. So I don't know. It's cold. It's uncomfortable. Your face hurts.
Whew!
You don't want to be outside any longer than you
Negative
need to
22
be.
degrees is negative 7.6 degrees below zero. Oh my god. Whoo! That's like,
Ooh.
you might as well be living in Antarctica with those kind of temperatures.
Honestly, yeah, it's so funny. Majority of Canadians live just right at the border. Like I can drive to the States in a couple of hours, and I think that that's the case for a lot of Canadians. So I can't even imagine if you were actually just one of the few like living north, basically in the Arctic. Like that would just be awful. But
Mm-hmm.
no, I some Texas weather over the winter sounds nice, honestly. I'd love to visit
Oh
Texas one day.
man. I would say,
But
where I live in Texas, we get everything pretty
yeah,
much. But our
yeah.
winters, for the most part, are mild. But we do have
Mm,
some days where we get like winter storm, like snow and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, we had
right,
a pretty major one during the pandemic in 2021 where it like shut
right,
off, like it like overloaded our power grid, and we had a lot of people had no
right.
power for like days.
I think I remember hearing about that. I guess that's the thing. When you do get places that aren't really don't
Yeah.
get weather like that regularly, it's
Mm,
not like really equipped to handle it. So that yeah, that is unfortunate. Wow, I do remember hearing about that. Yeah, that was pretty intense.
yeah. Well, luckily I
Yeah,
wasn't affected as much, but I
that's
really, really
good.
felt for everybody else in the state. Man, this question I wanted to ask you. I was going through some of your featured clips, and one
Ooh,
clip that stood out to me, you were playing your ocarina to like some kind of rap beat or some kind of rap beat or something. I got
yeah.
I you know, and no lie, it sounded really really good because I've never heard of someone using an ocarina in sync with the rap beat. So you have to tell them.
Yeah.
I gotta know, how did this come about?
Yeah, honestly, that was a good moment. Like, I almost wonder if I should. Well, I think I have my ocarina somewhere here. I can't actually play it. I was more so. It's the Ocarina of Time, so it's more so just like collector's piece. But
Uh,
if you know how to play it, is actually functional. And I think I was just having like a silly, goofy moment on stream, as we sometimes do. Sometimes you just feel a little hyper and silly on stream. And
mm,
I don't even know how that came about. I said, I wonder if I can make like an ocarina rap beat. And I think I just Googled like instrumental rap beat or hip hop. It's one of the first ones. And then I just started playing my ocarina to the beat, and we ended up making a pretty funny clip. And I think I have it as an alert on my stream as well. But yeah,
oh man,
honestly, it was my
those are.
first time I heard it. It ended up working out.
I was listening to it and I'm like, yo, Tor got bars. Let's go.
Forgot bars. Let's
Tor
go.
got them bars. Let's go.
Yeah,
No.
that's so funny. Oh my gosh. I
It
love that. It was a good clip.
that is funny. Yeah.
I wish I could pull it up. It was a good beat. It works pretty well with the as someone who can't really play ocarina.
Actually,
The beat worked out pretty well.
La ciencia.
I can't stop laughing. And it's so funny because you think it's gonna end, and then it just goes on and on.
right. Yo,
Like I was dedicated to the bit. I kept it going.
as I was listening, as you were talking about, how you were growing up, our backstories were very similar. I mean, I didn't have a
Mhm.
lot of friends growing up either.
Yeah.
Majority of my time was either studying or gaming. There was like it was
Yeah.
only one of those two. So I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. And growing up, my childhood was also rough. I was very, I
Mhm.
guess, because I was autistic. My voice, I didn't like how I sound. I didn't like my voice, so people would constantly mock 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 me with my
Oh,
voice and everything. So
that's awful.
yeah, so I mainly I kind of like really kept to myself. But
Mhm.
after after college and everything, after I got to college and towards like the tail end, after I finished college and grad school and everything, I kind of everyone was more accepting of myself, and despite my voice and everything. So when I started streaming over time, I felt like I started to accept more of how I sound,
Mhm.
because how I sound on camera is different than how I sound IRL. I don't know. On camera, I sound like I'm kind of forcing my words out, so to speak.
Mhm.
When I'm IRL, I sound pretty mellow, pretty chill, and whatnot.
Mhm.
But yeah, I even like I used to like completely hate my voice back in the day, but thanks to some speech therapy and thanks to some interventions, so to speak, I learned to like accept myself a lot more, and I could definitely see that with you as well. So
Mhm.
I wanted to
Yeah.
ask. I know I kind of beat around the bush a bit, but I wanted to ask. As someone who's been through similar, how did you learn to really accept yourself, to accept?
No, for
Did my
sure.
question make sense?
No, 100%. It definitely makes sense. That's a great question. And I just have to say that your story too is amazing. I'm sorry that, yeah, it's just awful. Like I feel like growing up,
So
kids can be so brutal. But no, I'm so glad that you kind of found your voice and, found your way here and confidence in yourself because you are a wonderful person. You
thank
have
you,
made such
thank you.
a fun, chill space for everyone. I'm sure your chat would agree. I just grew up really painfully shy. Like really had no friends at all. Even now I'm still quite shy. I'm definitely a lot better, but I think
I'm the same.
um you too. Yeah, it's tough. I think it's sort of evolved more into like social anxiety as I've gotten older. And you learn to, I guess, manage it and ways to deal with it. That's different for everyone, but it doesn't really necessarily make it easier. You just kind of learn to get to work with yourself, I think, as you're an adult. But yeah, I still deal with being quite shy, but it was really bad when I was a kid, and I felt like no one really wanted to be my friend. I really struggled to fit in. So honestly, my GameCube just meant so. I always refer back to my
Same,
GameCube.
same.
It's just gaming in general, but that console really I felt like was such an escape for me in my childhood. And then it's so silly because you feel like you're friends with NPCs and like you matter, you're saving the world, you're doing things, and it just as a kid, or a teen or whatever it may be, it really can have such a positive impact on you, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah, as I got older and I started seeing that people were gaming online, I didn't really know about Twitch for quite a while. I started off by watching people doing Let's Plays on YouTube, and I just thought that seemed like such a fun creative outlet. And I felt like I had so much I wanted to like express with my personality, but I wasn't able to in real life with people I knew, I suppose. So I found my way to Twitch, and then I don't know. Again, I was planning on starting with like Let's Plays on YouTube, and then I found myself gravitating more towards like the live format and like what we're doing now, like talking. It just feels so natural, and it feels like you're connecting with people. And over the past 4 years, I want to say that I've been streaming. I think it's helped with my confidence and self-awareness tremendously.
Oh
I
yeah.
definitely do still struggle to articulate my thoughts often and like stumble over my words and stuff, but
Me too.
it's
Me
so
too.
yeah. And yeah, you totally get it. And it's
Mm-hmm.
hard, it's you're putting yourself out there in front of people, but I'm sure you would relate too. You do find a sense of like confidence in yourself, and I think even if we have some days that are better than others, just knowing that you're putting yourself out there, I think is a huge thing and something we should be really proud of. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, I've gained a lot of confidence with streaming, and I think a sense of self and a sense of purpose for sure. And it helps a lot.
Oh
It helps a
totally.
lot. It's definitely weird at first, like putting yourself out there and then watching yourself back, and you're like, oh God, is that what I sound like? Is that what I look like? But then you get used to it, and yeah. No, it's a never ending journey, but it's helped me so much with my self expression, I'd say, and confidence.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I'm
definitely
probably
see
yapping.
definitely seen a lot of that with your streams too.
Thank you.
Uh,
You too.
so Bad Blood question to you is: what is your opinion on video games in general in this day and age, especially compared to how they
Ooh.
were when you were younger? Oh, this is a very good question. Is it better
Mhm.
or worse? Good in a different way? This is a conversation I actually had with my previous
Yeah.
guest as well. So yeah,
Ooh.
I'd like to hear your take on it,
Yeah.
Tor.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, feel free to steer me on the right direction if I'm misunderstanding it, because I feel like you can interpret that in a few ways.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like if you're talking about games themselves and how games have evolved, I mean, it's so funny because games, um, I might be completely taking this the wrong way. I feel like obviously games have improved so much objectively, like in terms of what they're capable of, what devs are capable of achieving. So you look at like retro games versus newer games, and there's so much more they're able to do now that um, weren't in the games that I had growing up, and I'm sure that applies to so many people here as well. Yeah, it's interesting because I think when it comes to the gaming space itself, I don't even know if I'm really making sense. It makes sense in my brain, but I feel like games, whether it's like the new hot game that everyone's playing or like a retro game that's 30 years old that is still so cherished. I think all of that set aside, games just bring everyone together from all walks of life, whatever types of games you gravitate towards. So it's neat because you see that gaming itself is such a big popular thing now, and I feel like the gaming space has gained so much like recognition, and now you see people being more accepting of like woman gaming, and just I feel like gaming is just not as frowned upon as it used to be, which is amazing. People are actually looking at it as this cool creative thing and hobby, I guess you could say. I feel like I'm yapping. Where am I trying to go with my answer? Better, worse. I
No,
mean, I feel like I hope you get what I'm saying.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's
yeah.
hard. Yeah.
I think you're no, you're fine, Tor. You're fine.
I'm cooking
I
a bit.
mean,
I'm cooking a bit. It makes sense in my brain. I'm like, it's because games objectively are improving, and I feel like it's amazing because we see these games come to life that I feel like they're bringing things to life that we just couldn't even have grasped with the games we had growing up. So it's amazing to see as we get older, the games evolve into what they are now. But again, I guess it's cool how there's still so much love for like retro games and just gaming in a general, and everyone has their own niches and types of games they gravitate towards. But yeah, if we're talking about games and how they actually are, I think it's so cool seeing like how games have come so far. I don't know if anything's better or worse. Like I would love to play Ocarina of Time as much as I would love to play like Tears of the Kingdom, for example. Like I love older games and newer games for different reasons. But I think I'm kind of losing track of. I'm just yapping now, but I don't know. I hope that made sense, or a part of it made sense.
I see
Thanks,
I
man.
see where you're going. I see.
Heck
I
yeah.
definitely see where you're cooking with it, Tor. It makes sense.
Thank
So
I
Bad
was
Blood
cooking a bit. I
says
was cooking a bit.
is what you're saying essentially is that games are a nexus for people as a community even more now than they used to be. Yeah.
I I would say so. Well, I feel like games have been something that holds people together for so long. Like games brings people together. But I feel like now with technology how it is and the online space evolving, and then of course we see the gaming community on Twitch and YouTube that never really would have been the case maybe like 15, 20 years ago. And it just continues to evolve. I think the sense of community that's come from gaming now is so much more than it used to be. Of course, it's always held people together, but yeah, what you can do on the online space now in terms of like streaming games with friends, and you meet people who have similar gaming interests in you. I think gaming is like amazing for bringing people together. I've met some people who I consider very good friends through Twitch, and even if you have different interests as far as like what niche you like, it's more so you can just set those differences aside. It's just a general shared love of gaming as a whole. I think that brings people together.
Could have said it any better.
Yeah.
As I've known you, your community is a very chill, safe space for people that want to
Yeah.
join, people that have been long been a part of your community. What stands out in your community compared to like many others like yours? What makes it stand
Yeah.
out? What do you think?
That's a really good question. I think, like you said, I definitely feel the same. I feel like over the years we have garnered, and it's so funny because I say like, even though I guess it's my stream, I always say we because I feel like the community obviously is such an integral
Yes,
part of
yes,
the whole
yes.
thing. Um, so I feel like I always say we because I feel like I
I
kind of
do
like
this.
created
I'm
it
the
with
same
them.
way with my
Yeah,
community. It's as I say, it's a
yeah.
we community.
Yeah, and it's like you grew with them, you grow together. So yeah, and I feel like it's something that they're so integral to the process, but I feel like we have created a really chill, safe space. And I never really want to like use safe to describe my own streams because I feel like in a weird way I don't know if it's fair for me to put that label on my streams. It's like I just want someone to go into my streams and make that call for themselves. Like I hope to the best of my ability that people view it as a safe space. And I do like to think that we've achieved that. And I guess it kind of ties back into like our personalities and maybe us feeling like we weren't incredibly confident going into streaming. I think I was worried because I am more mellow and soft spoken and shy that I wouldn't have this big personality that would fit on a platform like this. And funny enough, I think me being more like soft spoken and mellow is what helped shape the type of community I have. I think a lot of people like have expressed that they like gravitate towards it feeling more like calming and chill. Whereas often you do see like a lot of loud personalities on the platform, which isn't a bad thing. Like obviously, people have different things they gravitate towards, but yeah, it's funny because I never thought I'd have a good personality for the platform, but I think me being more like chill and mellow and soft spoken, I guess, has created a space where people have felt comfortable to come and they felt like they could really confide in others in the community and that they're welcomed. And I do really pride myself on. I feel like a lot of people have come into the community and expressed that you know, it's been there for them at times when they were feeling really low or we've had people like come out about big major like things in the community and felt comfortable trusting us with that. So I don't know. I feel like it has become a space where whether we have regulars from years ago or new faces, people seem to be really comfortable there and it's just become a nice comfy little space. And I like to think it's everyone's so kind and welcoming to new people coming in. So
Oh yeah.
I'm really proud of it. So because of course you worry about that as a streamer, you want to foster a space that's a good reflection of you and like a positive environment.
Oh yeah.
And
Most
I'm pretty
definitely.
happy. Yeah, and I think you've done an amazing job with that as well. I feel like you have such a nice community and such a chill,
Thank you,
welcoming
thank
space
you,
on the
thank you.
internet. So yeah.
I feel like gaming in a way has made it to where like you can turn online friendships into IRL. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like bridge the gap uh, between forming IRL friendships. I mean, I met
Mm-hmm.
like in the past. I want to say in all my times on Twitch, I've actually met a couple of people that actually live in the same city I live in. I met them IRL, and we became IRL friends. And I've always
That's
wanted to go to
amazing.
TwitchCon too. I didn't go the past couple of years due to money and my fear
Mm-hmm.
of traveling, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it a thing to go to TwitchCon next year.
Yeah, let's go. 2025, Iceman Prime. Let's go.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's so valid though. It is a huge financial like, I feel like that's a huge aspect in this economy and TwitchCon just ups the prices every year. So that's so completely valid. But if anyone does have the means to go even just once to experience it, it is really, really incredible. I went last year to Vegas and I went this year in San Diego and yeah, it's such a rewarding experience. It's just so cool because you feel like it's this little online bubble, and then you go and you see it and all the people in real life, and it just blends it all together. And it's a really, really cool experience. And fear traveling is so valid too. I was so anxious to go just because I had never flown alone, and then I overcame it, and it was so fun. So if I can do it, you can definitely do it.
Oh yeah.
But that's so fair though because TwitchCon is very expensive, but
Mm.
it's a really really cool experience.
So, Twinkly, I actually I actually have two questions. So the first
Oh,
question
okay.
is, if Zelda never happened, if you never happened to encounter Zelda,
Just
oh
end it
no,
all. No, I'm just
oh
kidding.
no.
I'm just kidding.
if
Oh my
Zelda,
god.
if the Legend of, if you never happened to even play Zelda.
Oh,
What gaming series would you number one would you be streaming? And number two, what gaming series would you be getting into?
wow, that is such a good question. It's so funny because I've never even thought about that possibility. It's just I really can't even imagine a world where I had never played Zelda for the first time. I feel like it's such an integral part of my content creation and
Right.
gaming experience. I like to think I still would have started streaming. I felt like since I was young, I've always felt very drawn to like the world of content creation in some medium, whether that ended up being streaming and gaming. I'm not sure. I think I like to think I would have ended up doing something creative online. Wow, it's so weird to think about because
Right.
I always loved gaming, but like when I'm sure everyone has a series that did that it for them, but when I think of like playing Zelda for the first time, something in my brain just like clicked. I was like, this is like everything to me. But I don't I like to think I would have started streaming, but I don't know if I would have really found my rhythm with
Your
like adventure
rhythm.
games, I guess you could say. Yeah, I think maybe I
Right.
would have dabbled in like what I played growing up, like cutesy Nintendo games. I probably would have continued with like what I often do now, like a lot of like the new Mario game, new, whatever it may be. I think Nintendo would have always been my main thing, but Zelda is just so integral to like my gaming experience. It's really weird to picture if I hadn't ever been introduced to it. I like to think I still would have been here, but yeah, I definitely don't think I would have felt as like driven to
Right.
do certain
I'll be
types of games.
I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I did kind of throw a curveball at you with that
Yeah,
question,
that was a
but
good question. It was really good.
yeah. What do you think is important in building a community?
Ooh, that's a good question. Hmm. There's so many things you could say, but it's hard to like put it into words. I think
Just put it into your put your you can just put your own little
that's
put your
true.
own little mix. Let
Own
yourself
little
cook.
twinkly spin on it.
Do a twin.
Let me
Yep,
yeah,
yep,
try
yep.
to let myself cook.
Let yourself cook. Yeah.
I I would say a genuine love and passion for the space and the hobby is probably a big thing. I feel like you sometimes see bigger streamers who whether they started and passionate about it and then got burnt out or they maybe just didn't really jump into it for the right reasons or it's not really for them end up holding a lot of resentment for their community or towards their community, and I think that becomes like pretty apparent. I would say just having a genuine love for the space and wanting to genuinely make connections with people is a big thing, for myself. And it sounds like one of the big reasons you went to Twitch as well is for a sense of community. You want that connection with people and like-minded people, and you meet so many incredible people in the space. So I think just wanting to, you're coming on and wanting to put your best self forward for yourself and also for the people watching you, and they give you their time and energy by coming into their stream. So I think just really taking the time to value every single person who comes into your chat and see them as a person they are and not just a name, a Twitch handle on a screen. Just trying to envision the person they are behind the screen and making genuine connections. I think for me, that's what's helped me foster like a community I think I'm really proud of. I don't know, you just look at them as like, people that you could actually be like real friends with. And I don't know if I'm really making sense, but I think,
You're making a whole you're
yeah,
around the money.
okay.
You're making a whole lot of sense.
Amazing. That's good. Yeah, I hope I am. I feel like just having a genuine love for the space and appreciation for everyone who takes the time to show up, I think is first and foremost probably like one of the most important foundations for building a solid community. Everyone just knowing that they're valued and welcome there, and that it's a space where everyone's opinions and words are so hard.
Right,
I
right.
guess everyone's involvement in the space is just as equal as the next person and just as valued as the next person. I think for me, that's been pretty much like the most integral thing, I guess, for
Right.
building a
Yeah, yeah.
solid community. I might have run with that question a bit too much and drifted away from the actual question, but I think you get where I'm kind of getting at.
If there is
Yeah.
one thing you want to tell someone who wants to get into streaming or content creating, what would that be?
Ooh. Oh, that's a really, really good question. I feel like I've told this to a few people because I've been really fortunate, I guess, that in my years on stream, I've seen a lot of community members become streamers themselves, and I've had a lot of people tell me that they felt like inspired after, being in the community and stuff to want to start their own streaming journeys. And anytime someone tells me that they're hesitant to start, I feel like the main thing I always tell people is if you're this applies to anything in life really, but with streaming, I always tell people if you're wondering and really questioning the what ifs and in that area where you're not really too sure, I say just take the leap and try it, because there's nothing worse than not doing something and looking back and wondering what if, and you
Right.
just always have
Oh,
that in the
yeah.
back of your mind.
Oh yeah.
It's so much better to just try something, and at the very least you'll be so proud that you gave it a shot, and if it doesn't end up being for you, that's so okay, and then it's not bothering you anymore, and you can say you tried. But I say you just never know until you try. So if someone thinks it's something they would enjoy, streaming is an overwhelming thing to get into. It's really nerve-wracking and anxiety inducing to put yourself out there, and you don't know if people will show up. But yeah, I say just go for it and you'll be pleasantly surprised. I never thought I would still be doing it 4 years later. I don't know about your journey if you feel the same, but I feel so blessed to have had people that come and enjoy my company and want to stick around, because I didn't think that would be the case. So you'll be pleasantly surprised if you challenge yourself, I think. So I would encourage everyone to give it a shot if it's something that you've considered.
My journey is pretty similar to Tours.
Mhm.
You know, I would also add, just do it. Just be yourself.
Do it. Mhm.
Take breaks if you need, but the main part is don't stop. Just don't stop. If it's really not for you, you'll know it, and that's okay. But if you stop before you realize the potential that you could do as a content creator, that's gonna live with you in your head for the rest of your life, and you don't want to live your life in regret. So, you
Yeah.
know, as Twinkly said, just do it. Also, don't worry about the numbers. I mean, those numbers will come naturally. I mean, it'll take time. They will come eventually, but it's not about the numbers. Your community is more than a bunch of numbers. It's their people, and if you go into that thought that your community is more than numbers and that they're people, you'll go a long way.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah, that was perfect. I fully agree. I feel like it's so easy to get caught up in like comparison and the numbers, and I think everyone, whether you know they want to admit it or not, I think everyone at some point falls into it to some extent. And it's so easy to look at the next person. You say, "Why am I not there? Or what am I doing wrong?" But like you said, then you sit with yourself for a bit and you remind yourself why you're doing it, and you say these are all people taking time out of their day to come hang out, and that in itself is so cool and so special. And like you said, if you have a true genuine love for it and you stick with it and you keep showing up, I think that's the biggest thing, and it will eventually get you to where you want to go. So I think that was really well said.
So now the roles are going to be reversed. As if you guys have seen my podcast before, I'm now the guest. She is the host, and Twinkly, as I said, while prepping up for our podcast, you get to ask me one question. Have you
Okay.
thought about that question?
Oh, as a matter of fact, Iceman, I cooked a little bit. So I wrote down I brainstormed. I cooked pretty hard. I came up with 3 questions, and I think they're all pretty strong. So I'm gonna
Okay.
think of the most
She got notes
appropriate
and
one.
everything. Uh oh.
I do.
Okay.
I jotted
Okay.
them down.
So
I am
Twink.
not messing around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I came up with 3 different ones, sort of depending on what we covered today.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Let's see. So I'm putting you in the hot seat now. Let's see.
Okay.
I would say this one's quite nice, because
Okay.
it kind of taps into you and your own journey, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But one question that I thought of was, Iceman, what has been the most unexpected lesson you've learned through your content creation journey?
Ooh. The most unexpected lesson I learned is it's okay to be vulnerable.
That's a good
If you
one. That's
guys
a good answer.
Yeah, so as a content creator, because I went into it thinking at first like, all these people and their personalities, like, is that how they are in real life? I mean, I went into it thinking, okay, these people, this can't be how they are in because when you when you see them on stream, is this really how they are in real life? So I went into it at first I was thinking when I was starting, like, do I need to adopt some kind of personality that I don't really have? But over time, as I was getting ready to do my and everything, I thought I don't want to pretend to be somebody I'm not. It just didn't sit right with me. So I took a chance and I said, you know what? I'm just gonna go into the stream, even though my name is Iceman. I mean, people don't know me as Iceman, of course, IRL. But I'm gonna go into the stream being Iceman, but I'm gonna stick to what's in my heart and be my actual genuine self. I always would open up. I would open up to people, about my mental health journey and everything, battling with anxiety and depression, my childhood growing up and everything. I was surprised about how a lot of the creators I follow had very similar backstories and backgrounds that made me relate to them. That made me relate to them a lot more. And I would say, that was probably like the most unexpected thing that I learned. And I was like, wow, all these people went through the same stuff I am, but here they are thriving in this space.
Yeah,
that
sure.
would probably be my most unexpected. That's probably. Did that answer your question?
Oh, 100%. I feel like that was a perfect answer. That was great. Yeah, that totally makes sense. And I feel like I definitely relate to that because you feel like you want to go into it thinking, oh, am I maybe supposed to be adopting some kind of persona or what I think people want to see? And then you realize that, yeah, like going into it, just being authentically yourself, you're like, here's the good, here's the bad, this is me. And then you find a lot of people actually resonate with that and you can form deeper connections. And I feel like, yeah, going into it, that's not something that you expect by just opening up and being vulnerable and being yourself, but it ends up making it a more like fulfilling experience for you and the viewers as well, I think. Yeah. No, that was a 10/10 answer. Knocked it out of the park.
Thank you, Tor.
Yeah,
Thank you. Alrighty, guys, we are gonna go ahead. We are out of time for tonight, but again, this was an awesome, excellent episode of Chillin. Again, shout out to Miss TwinklyTor. Make sure y'all go follow her on Twitch and go and check her out on YouTube as well.
Big thank you to the chat, everyone coming out to support him, and people from my friends coming out to support me.
Thank you.
Yeah, everyone's been so great. Yeah, this was so much fun. I enjoyed myself.
Oh yeah, me too. Y'all stay icy, my friends. For Tor, I am Iceman. Y'all stay icy and chill, my friends. We are signing out.